as opposed. Oh, the big lock up for Leto. That was a big mistake there. Leto has seen Cox in his mirrors. He totally locked up there. That must have done some damage to the front. It's given Cox just that extra impetus he needs to catch up. So Cox about to come up on the race leader. This is first and second battle you're looking at here in Helsinki. We have completed now 53 laps of the race. Behind them, Chattarella. No, that's not Chattarella, sorry, that is Mario Martini in the other GBF car, and these two coming up. This maybe is the chance Cox wants to take the lead of the race from his teammate JJ Leto. I have to say, if Cox passes Leto, he will be the most unpopular man in Finland, because Leto is the local hero, and the Dutchman here on a charge now for Schnitzer BMW. This is going to be Leto's problem now. He's in amongst traffic. There's a lot of traffic. Let's give him Cox the chance he needs. Cox is right there with him now. Look at that. He goes to the left, looks to the right, looks to the left again. And Cox really has the chance now. He has been closing up at such a rate of knots. He has got the opportunity to pass now. Will he be allowed to pass, or will Charlie Lamb be on the pit wall radioing no racing between the two of you? It doesn't look like it. This is formation flying by the BMW Motorsport team. This is what BMW came into GT racing for. They are beating Mercedes, they are beating Porsche, they're beating Lotus, and now here are their two cars. They've lapped the entire field, and we are not yet halfway through the race, and now the two of them racing together. JJ Leto leading from Peter Cox here in Helsinki. Cox looking again, they're coming up behind the Lotus of Mauro Martini, so distinctive with its great flashes of exhaust out of the V8 twin turbo. Well, ignore that caption. It's not 2 seconds, it is nothing. It's one car's length at the moment. Stefano Butturia makes room for Mauro Martini, then makes room for JJ Leto, then he makes room for Peter Cox. A nice piece of driving there by Butturia in the Carlo Gustin GT1 Porsche. Peter Cox looking again. This would just be the icing on the cake for Roberto Ravaglia if he could be handed the car in the lead of the race. There's Steve Soper there with Roberto Ravaglia. They're getting ready. And I'm quite sure that these drivers, professional BMW Motorsports drivers for years, are going to do it by the rule book. I'm quite certain that the order's gone out. No racing, you two. Just hold your position and come into the pits in that order. This sort of demonstration obviously will be doing exactly what BMW want, which is really promote BMW sales in Finland, in fact the whole of Scandinavia. And now right behind Mauro Martini in the GBF Lotus. Martini will know they're there. He's got his mirrors full of white BMW McLarens. These cars, maybe next year or the year after, will not be McLarens any longer. They'll be called BMWs. Gordon Murray's new design could be totally christened BMW, dropping the McLaren name. A little bit of friction at the moment between McLaren and Mercedes, because these McLarens are dominating GT racing, whereas Mercedes is of course a partner of McLaren in Formula One. So politics will probably demand the next generation of McLaren F1 GTRs will be called BMWs. Well, just look how quick that Lotus was. It held off these McLarens certainly for 4 or 5 laps, but now they've gone through safely. Very nice driving game by Mimo Chattarella. Have to be congratulated. All these drivers being lapped, they're making plenty of room, and apart from the incident between Thomas Fischer and Alexander Wirtz, which may have been inexperience on the part of Wirtz, it's been a clean race thus far. There's Stevie Soper. Just making his point to our cameraman. A bit of brightness around, you'll see from Steve's visor there. Steve Soper, still one of Britain's top endurance drivers, suffering from flu the weekend of Silverstone. Hanson Greenford, he's 43 years old, and he started his career racing in Minis in 1977. Well, we're here at Helsinki. We are looking at the 1.5 hour mark, and BMW Motorsport McLaren have managed to eke out their fuel to make it last half of this race. Only one fuel stop strategy. Here's our race leader, or race leaders, cars 1 and 2. JJ Later in the number 8 car, Peter Cox in the number 9 car, and these two running nose to tail now for the last 5 laps here in Helsinki, with 54 laps down and just about to come in for their first and only fuel stop. Here is the Schnitzer team. Now, how have BMW done this? This has been absolutely stunning. Not yet, it won't be this lap. They go past the pit entrance, past the start-finish line, and onto their 55th lap here on the 3.18 kilometre Helsinki street race. Later will be handing over to Steve Soper and Peter Cox to Roberto Ravaglia. In comes eventually Maribaldi. Baldi handing over to Max Angelelli. Max Angelelli, last year one of the stars of the Ferrari F40 squad, now joining the Conrad Motorsport team. Franz Conrad there strapping in Angelelli. Maribaldi just going to have a quick word. Tell them what to look out for, perhaps. So this car at the moment in 4th place. We have McLaren 1-2, we have Porsche 3-4, Lotus in 5th, and the Gulf McLarens. Well, we just have not seen anything of these Gulf McLarens in the last few laps. Andrew Gilbert-Scott sharing his car with Jean-Marc Gounon and Pierre Raffinel back in 6th place, and John Nielsen, though, coming up to 9th. Now, he's made up to 9th place in a comeback drive after Thomas Picheur was spun out earlier in the collision with Alexander Wurz. Still formation flying by the BMW McLarens. And they've done the impossible. They have eked out 1.5 hours on their fuel from these 5.9 litre V12 BMW engines, 600 plus horsepower. Of course, atmospheric engines, no question of turning down the boost a bit to save fuel. Go past the Viper of Pertti Livonen. In comes the BMS Scuderia Italia car, Christian Pescatori, handing over now to Pier Luigi Martini. There's Pescatori out of the car, Martini in. So the Porsches also managing to get an hour and a half of fuel out of their 911 GT1s. Refueling completed, tyres changed, screen cleaned, driver change as well, and out goes Martini. Well, we're still waiting for the two BMWs to stop as Christian Pescatori removes his helmet. Not Luigi Martini, he's actually in the car now. Pescatori takes his helmet off. And in comes the BMW. Which one is it? It is the race leader, is it? Jojo Leto coming in. There he is. Leto comes in to hand over to Steve Soper. So Steve Soper will take over the lead car. It's a long way down the pits. There is a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit in the pits in Helsinki. In he comes, right up to the pit board. Now, only refueling and driver change at the moment. No other work may be done on the car apart from cleaning the screen. Then get Soper. What a great job Leto has done. His day's work is over. He has lapped the entire field. He's brought the car back in one piece. They've made the fuel last 1.5 hours. It's a one-stop strategy in a 3-hour race. Peter Cox, now our race leader, and he will come in as soon as the BMW pits are cleared. Steve Soper will rejoin as the leader once Peter Cox comes in. Charlie Lamb's well-drilled Schnitzer team JJ saying, go for it, Stevie, go for it. What a good job by JJ. That is one of the class drives we've seen of the last year or so in GT racing. And JJ can just pull it out of the bag when he wants. He won Le Mans in '95. He was invited to join Gulf at Suzuka in '96, and he gave them the victory there. So what a fine job by JJ. Steve goes out, in comes Peter Cox as Steve Soper takes the lead here in Helsinki. In comes Peter Cox, handing over to Roberto Ravaglia, who is 40 years old tomorrow, Monday. Another man who started in kart racing. And Steve Soper's job is to keep the car out in front there. The main opposition now will be from his own teammates. I'm sure Charlie Lamb will not allow racing between these two cars. One slip and they could both be in the walls, and that's it. And Porsche or Lotus would take the win. Peter Cox out of the car. Roberto Ravaglia in. Good job by Cox there, the 32-year-old Dutch driver. Ran in British Formula 3 in 1990. He's been in BMW since '93 in touring cars. He won the '95 Star 24 Hours. But down goes his teammate Roberto Ravaglia, still in second place. Big stop for Cox. He's congratulated by the team on a job well done. And I have to say, Peter's restraint when he had every opportunity of passing JJ later. He caught him up. The rate of knots, obviously team orders came into play. They said, hold station, stay as you are. And of course, if JJ can win here, that will help BMW sales as well as BMW's own victory. So, there is the confirmation at the moment. Very little in it. See, they've now rejoined. In fact, as we see, it's Ravaglia who's rejoined just in front, so they got the car out quicker, and he is in front of Steve Soper at the moment. They got out just before Soper passed the pit lane exit, so it is a reverse of the lead. It's all happened in the pits. Roberto Ravaglia leads the race. Here he is in the number 9 BMW McLaren from number 8 car of Steve Soper. Here he is thrilling through the chicane. Now what's going to happen now then? Are they going to close up at the end of the race under team orders? We have got 1 hour and 25 minutes left. We're just over half distance. We have completed 59 laps of this race, and BMW Motorsport McLaren are walking away with it. They have a lap lead over the entire field, including the 3rd place Rook Porsche. Rook Porsche now in the hands of Stefan Ortelli. And in 4th place the GBF Lotus of Mimo Sciattarella, who took it over from Luca Badour, who did such a good job. Past the back markers, past the Kraus Motorsport Porsche of Michael Trunk. He's showing that car with Bernhard Müller. The GT2 cars obviously on a one-stop strategy, with the exception of Rook Racing and Carlo Agustin, who both have 3 drivers to accommodate in this race, in this 3-hour race. So there we are indeed, looking at the Magnum car. Seem to make the pits here, but the race is on, and this is a race of a vengeance. Soper and Ravaglia fighting it out round the circuit. Soper has taken back that 1st place from Ravaglia as they went under the bridges there. And Soper already having his tyres warmed up a little bit more. He'd had a lap advantage, remember. Went through past Ravaglia. Ravaglia, 40 years old tomorrow, and here again we see the moment they did it, as they came up under the bridge, Soper just dives down the inside. Ravaglia obviously not expecting that, and you can assume from this there were no team orders at this stage of the race. These 2 drivers being told to go out there and win for BMW. What a big surprise this has been for Lotus to be in 3rd place. Lotus quicker than Porsche, quicker than Mercedes, and perhaps also significantly quicker than Gulf McLaren. Gulf McLaren really not on the same pace as the BMW Motorsport cars this weekend. Oh, a bit of a collision there. Oizer trying to muscle through past the Kraus Motorsport Porsche. Looks like no harm's done, but we have at the moment got the Gulf car of Henri Raffinel. He took over, when we were on the break, he took over the Gulf car from Andrew Gilbert-Scott, and he is now fighting for position with the GVF Lotus. Oh, they definitely forced out a game. This is real street fighting. Oh, there's no quarter being given here by Mimo Sciattarella. Mimo Sciattarella in third place, Henri Raffinel in fourth place, and they are squabbling after this. Well, there's a great move there by Raffinel. Tries to go around the outside, but there's no room, and Sciattarella shuts the door. The other GVF Lotus now coming up to join him, to give him some moral support. So great fighting here in the streets of Helsinki, the Helsinki Thunder. They're going past the abandoned Conrad GT2 Porsche there, having a lonely race sitting there on the safety area after an engine failure. And Henri Raffinel pushing hard in the Gulf McLaren. The sight many expected not to see. Lotus against a Gulf McLaren. There is confirmation of the order at the moment. Leto and Soper still leading for BMW McLaren from Mimo Sciattarella in third place in the Lotus. We're going to take a short break, come back afterwards and see how this develops. Join us just as John Nielsen rejoins the track after their second pit stop. He is in the Gulf McLaren, currently in 7th place overall, and the race being led by BMW Motorsport McLaren. A 1-2 for, at this moment, Steve Soper and Roberto Ravaglia. Just before the break, we were watching a great battle as Henri Raffinel tried to unlap himself from the third place Lotus of Mimo Sciattarella. He managed to do that, and he is now trying to play catch-up to get back onto the same lap as the leaders. One lap down, though, the leaders have lapped everybody, including the third place car of Sciattarella. In fourth place, Rook Porsche. In fifth place, Gulf McLaren, the car of Henri Raffinel. And in sixth place, the second of the GBF Lotuses. So Lotus third and sixth with the turbo engines, which are proving so effective on these street circuits. When they go onto the longer circuits, the restrictors on the turbocharged engines really play against them, and for that reason the factory Lotus team, which is missing this race, has reverted to V8 atmospheric engines. Watching our race leaders at the moment, Steve Soper, Roberto Ravaglia. That's Roberto Ravaglia we saw just there. Here's Steve Soper and Ravaglia in the background there. Here in the Rook Porsche at the moment, Stefan Ortelli in fourth place, but already one lap down and about to be lapped for the second time in this race by the number 8 BMW Motorsport McLaren F1 GTR. Ortelli showing this car with Ralph Kelleners. And a good day for Porsche as well in fourth place. He's still got his indicator going. It's been going certainly since he joined the race. It wasn't necessarily a sign to let Steve Soper by. But Steve took the advantage nonetheless. The British driver leading here in the capital of Finland on this city circuit road course. Is in second place in GT2. We have just passed the Marcos of Core Oizer. Trying to get it fired up. We didn't see what happened. Well, now we're going to see what happened. There he is trying to pass Oizer, and he goes straight on. That's trying to outbrake himself. That is Francois Lafont at the wheel. It's up the escape road. Managed to stop it all safely, but then of course he got the problem of 3-point turns. And Francois Lafont stalling the car there in the escape road. And Cor Oyser going back into second place in the GT2 category. Well, the marshal's going to give him a hand, just get the car turned round. During all that drama, just to finish off the Porsche GT1 story, the road car was unveiled in May 1996, and yes, there in the paddock was the road car, being proudly shown to everybody alongside the racers. It's the first mid-engine Porsche 911. The GT1 has the 4-valve, 3.2-litre flat-six twin-turbo. It's now water-cooled and delivering 600 brake horsepower. ABS brakes and power steering came with the package, but ABS braking now banned in GT1 in the FIA series, as JJ Leto watches his friend and teammate Steve Soper further increasing their advantage. It is now 5.5 seconds over Roberto Ravaglia. And Steve Soper pushing on hard, now getting caught up in the Lotus formation squad. Nemo Sciattarella from Mauro Martini. GT2 positions after 73 laps, and it's still Claudio Hurtgen for Rook Porsche, leading from Cor Oyser and Harold Becker. Becker at the wheel at the moment in the Marcos, and the other Rook Porsche losing places now as Francois Lafont struggled to get the car restarted in the pit lane. Join us after the break. Comes Mauro Martini. He's handing back already to Andrea Boldrini. Well, they've only been in the car for half an hour, the extra two drivers, so they're putting the starting drivers back in. Badoer is already back in the number 23 car. Boldrini gets back into the 24 car. They have got to take on the fuel, obviously, to make this last part of the distance. Raffanel here, giving no quarter to race leader Steve Soper. He is quite determined that his Gulf McLaren will not be lapped. For the third time, already 2 laps down. Blue flags out there from the marshals. Stevie Soper climbing all over the back of Pierre-Henri Raffanel. It's Gulf McLaren being monstered by BMW Motorsport McLaren. Out back into the race goes Andrea Boldrini in the GBF Lotus, if they can start it. Have they got a starter problem? Car fires up, he gets it out, no problem. As we missed, unfortunately, Soper going past Pierre-Henri Raffanel. We're now looking at Roberto Ravaglia trying to do the same. Nice overhead shots here from the helicam, under the bridges, under the walkways and the belt, the conveyor belts of this working port, under the footbridge, under the conveyor belts. And a driver's view of this circuit is just all bridges and all concrete canyons. There's our race leader, JJ Leto, and Raffanel. I should think mortified that these white BMW McLarens have both now gone past him. Yet he is driving as hard as he can, doing all he can to keep them at bay. So this really is absolutely masterful driving by the two McLarens. They have now both lapped the entire field by 2 laps. There's confirmation, and Lotus there in 5th place. Now Lotus, GBF Lotus will be hoping that Rook Porsche and that #1 Gulf McLaren will still have to make stops. We have not yet seen Jean-Marc Gounon in the #1 car. We're waiting for that, and we do not know at the moment what Rook Porsche's strategy is with Stefan Ortelli and Ralph Kelleners. Do they have to stop again for fuel and tyres, or can they make it to the end of the race? As McLaren BMW, Schnitzer obviously can. Now here's a problem for Soper at the moment, a huge gaggle of traffic in front. Again, he's got to pick his way through, but the BMS Scuderia Italia car of Pierluigi Martini there's fighting his own race at the moment with all those GT2s. Oyser makes room, they all go through. They've got the Porsche in front, the Porsche getting the power down there. He in front of him has got the Conrad Porsche, driven at this moment by Max Angelelli. Franz Conrad will be taking that car over before the end of the race. Also, he's got in front of him the Carl Augustin car of Hans-Jörg Hofer. And there's a massive traffic jam. There's no way the two BMWs can get through. Soper looking to the left, looking to the right, and all the time Revalia's right up on his tail. And the BMW cars are not risking any collisions at this stage of the race. It would be so easy. Here they come through. This is a dangerous moment. They're threading their way through the traffic. They're running through together, but the GT2s have made way for them. Pierre-Henri Raffinel, meanwhile, has caught up with them again. They have got to now try and get past this Porsche, the BMS Scuderia Italia car of Pierluigi Martini. Martini, a Formula 1 driver, is not going to give way to anybody. And in front of them, we still have GT1 Porsche Evo of Augustine Racing and the Conrad Porsche in front of them, which Max Angelelli took over from Maribaldi a short time ago. Well, they still cannot get by. So, well, Roberto Ravalia must be wondering what team orders. Does he back off and let Raffinel by, or does he go past Soper if the opportunity's there? Well, we found out, because there's the answer. He goes through. Soper got blocked there by the Porsche, and immediately through went Roberto Ravalia. What a great piece of racing. It's Ravalia leading the race now from Steve Soper, and Raffinel behind in the Gulf McLaren also trying to get through. Let's have a look at it again. Here's Soper. He goes to the right to try and get to the left, try and get by the Porsche. The Porsche moves across, and suddenly Revalia's through in a flash. And he's almost passed also by Pierre-Henri Raffinel. So a lead change here on lap 80 of the race. Now, of course, Revalia's got to do the same thing. He's got to get by the two Porsches in front, and this should give Soper a chance to catch up again. But Soper has been blocked by that Porsche, and he's got Raffinel climbing all over the back of him again. Well, through in the end goes Ravalia, through on the inside of Martini. Roberto Ravalia, our new race leader. We are now 80 laps into the race, and Ravalia has just taken the lead of the race. Steve Soper, who just lost the lead, still being held up behind Pierluigi Martini in the BMS Scuderia Italia Porsche, and both cars have yet to get by Max Angelelli's Conrad Porsche. Here it is, here's the Conrad Porsche. He's going to make room for the BMW. No, he doesn't make room. Maybe this is Soper's chance. Again, he's blocked. The blue flags are waving, and Soper, if he gets the chance, will make every use of this opportunity of his teammate Ravalia. Ravalia wanting to give himself a 40th birthday present. His birthday is tomorrow, Monday, and he's held up at the moment by Max Angelelli. Soper's chance. Soper coming up now at a rate of knots. Ravalia goes through. Soper gets the door shut on him, and he goes through on the other side though. Suddenly the BMW has got this extra oomph over the Porsche, perhaps a little bit of turbo lag there from the Porsche, and through goes Steve Soper. Now he's got all that work to do again to catch up Roberto Ravalia. So great racing from Helsinki, but the racing is between teammates. There's this whole gaggle now. Pierre-Henri Raffinel's got the same job to do. So too has Luca Badara, who's now just caught up in the GBF Lotus. Will the Gulf McLaren be making another stop? Will Rook Porsche make another stop? We have to see. If they do, then Lotus could be on the podium for the first time this year. There's some action further back up the field. Oh, Schneider in all sorts of trouble. He cuts in on the Marcos. That was a very, very unnecessary move by Bernd Schneider. He knocked the Marcos sideways. It wasn't the car of Kroes, it was the other Marcos, the Marcos of